How were you when you first started training? I'll do jits. I assume you do some Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Did you have your lumps for 6 months, 1 month, 9 months?
I mean, I still take them today, depending on where I go. Fucking, but yeah, like I had a little bit of wrestling experience, but the thing is, it didn't really come in handy because we were starting on our knees when we were doing jujitsu. Plus, I was an ass wrestler in high school. The stand-up wasn't that bad because I did some like really basic boxing when I was a kid. But it's even to this day, sometimes I have on days, sometimes I have off days. And then it's like Taylor was saying, like, you got those dudes every now and again, they just walk in and they're like, yeah, let's go light. Right. Yeah. And it's just like, holy shit, dude. What bothers me isn't necessarily that people kind of like go off every now and again. It's that like you get this weird form of like creep who like I was actually when I fight, I get sparring in at Joe Lozon's gym. You guys you guys know of him.
They know Joe.
Yeah, we know him. Yeah. Like every now and again I go there and like everybody's usually like really chill, but every now and again there's a guy, he comes in like once and then I never see him again. And I'm not there all the time, but like like once a week when I'm getting ready to fight. And he'll just try and kill me. And then I'll kind of like throughout the course of the round, I'll figure out like, all right, so I'm hitting him with this. He's hitting me with that. I just got to avoid that. Like I start doing math. And then around the time that I kind of start figuring it out, that's when either A, they're like, nah, we're going too hard. Or B, they'll tell me not to use whatever it is that I'm using. Like if I throw an oblique kick or something like that, it's like this dude's slinging head kicks at me, but I can't throw a soft oblique kick that I'm being very careful with because that guy, he isn't here to train. He's here to feel like he won, And like, I totally get what you're saying, like me, I kind of have the opposite problem where I go really soft.
Did you ever, like when you fought professional, like in like real fights, I'll say, like, did you ever get absolutely shit on and think about quitting? Because I put myself in that headspace of fighters sometimes.
Oh yeah. My first fight. So like I said, I wasn't ever really like horrible necessarily. Like I went into it with a little bit of training. And I think that definitely kind of made me a little bit cocky because I was offered a fight with a guy who I should not have been fighting. He was like the captain of his college wrestling team, which if you talk to Brandon Buckingham, I know you have, like, he'll tell you that means the dude's like legit. That's like practically a jiu-jitsu black belt right there. He also kind of undersold his experience a little bit. Like I was like the third or fourth guy that got offered him. And the other people before me, they did a little research. They did some Googling and they were like, no, like I was told this, but that's not true. He's really a lot better. So I ended up taking the fight without doing any research. And it was bad. Basically, we came out. I didn't know you were supposed to signal a glove touch before you did it. I didn't know you're supposed to be like, hey, bud, you want to touch gloves? I just went out there trying to touch gloves. He came over the top with a right hand and then with a left hook. And that was it wasn't over then.
Who was in your corner?
Who was in my corner? My coach. His name's Mike.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, he should have clued you into the protocol.
Yeah, that would have been nice, but I don't think I don't think he was really thinking about it, What was I going to say? Oh yeah, and I got him back. I hit him with a jab cross, and I kind of saw his eyes shift. Like I know I hurt him, but then he shot in for the takedown, and I spent the rest of the fight just on my back, getting like destroyed. Like I had a giant bruise down here, blood vessels in the eye popped. He broke his hand on my head.
Damn. Yeah. He was playing for keeps.
You showed him.
So then for like 3 weeks after that, you're just having to walk around like my whole face.
For fucking 12 weeks he was like, ouch, my can't hold a dinner plate. So who's really the winner here?
Yeah, who got set back more?
No, I mean the face wasn't the worst part. I dislocated my knee in the third round. And I was stupid. I didn't bother to go to a doctor about it. I was like, I'm sure it's fine. It's fine. It either needs surgery or it's fine. And if it needs surgery, I'll know in 3 months when it hasn't improved. So I kind of walked around with a fucked up knee for a while, and I popped it back in a couple months later, like by mistake.
Damn.
Yeah, it was nasty. It was disgusting.
How is it now? Do you think you recovered all the way?
I still have some issues with it. Like there's some inflammation that happens every now and again, but I'm basically like, okay.
Have you been to the doctor yet?
Yeah. And they didn't want to take a look at it, like, because the thing is, I popped it back in, right? I jumped up to grab a tree branch. I was drunk and I was like, I'm going to do fucking pull-ups. And of course I slip. And, when I hit the ground, I felt and heard a pop followed by the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And like a week later, it was basically back to 100. So I was like, well, I guess the problem solved itself. And when I did go to the doctor, I was like, oh yeah, I dislocated my knee once. And they were like, what do you
learn this one trick? Doctors hate him.
Yeah. But I went to him and I was like, oh yeah, I dislocated my knee a while ago. And I just never went to you about it. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, my knee, like it popped out and then it popped back in later. And he's like, no. I was like, all right, I ain't gonna argue with you, man. As long as the knee works.
Damn. So they just didn't care. No, like
no, it seems 100%. You
walked in here.
In it.
You have full faith in your knee? He asked.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. I have enough faith in it. Like I said, there's a little inflammation. If I step wrong, it'll like. The only way I could describe it is I feel like it kind of does that, right? But like that was my first fight. I've had like 6 or 7 fights plus like other exhibitions and things like that since then. So, I've never had like a real issue with it other than that.
Have you ever had like the opposite happen in a fight where you got into it and you realized like, oh, hell yeah, this dude sucks. And you just got to just piece him up? I imagine that is satisfying as a fighter. It probably takes some self-control. Yeah. There's been a couple of times like that. It was mostly exhibitions because exhibitions, it's just like, we call them smokers. Like who showed up that day? This guy is about that guy's size. We'll just pair him up. So when you get in there and it's some dude who's like windmilling at you, you're just like, oh, good. I can kind of work a little bit. My last fight was kind of like that, but I still lost because I injured the same fucking knee. I have had very bad luck with this knee. He didn't land a single punch or kick, but we threw knees at the same time and they just did that. And I got the worst of it. So that sucks.
Yeah. There's injuries in fighting people don't talk about. I talk about mine, but like I've probably gotten off lucky if I'm being honest with you. I've fractured my skull. Like there was like a hairline fracture here.
Really? Was that from someone punching you? Oh
yeah, that was a punch.
With a hand. Okay.
Holy shit! I didn't know you could fracture skulls that easily with a punch.
Yeah. It's a rough game. People don't really understand it on that level. And I'm not trying to sound like, people don't understand, but like, people like, I can't tell you how many times. And even like my first fight, I lost it. And it's like hindsight. I know I shouldn't have taken that fight, but I'm walking around and people are seeing me and they're like, oh, you lost, dude, really? As if it's like, what? Why are you like disappointed in that way?
Did you think that was the best? Because I don't even think I'm the best. Like you're gonna lose some. Just depends on who you fight. Unless maybe you think you're the best.
Oh yeah.
170. Move over, fucking Islam or whatever.
Yeah. And I think I kind of needed that a little bit too because
you muted
Leon Edwards.
I'm muted.
No.
Kyle is. Edwards is 170. Okay.
You needed to get beat like that, you think?
I think you're right.
Oh yeah. Because when I was originally fighting, I wasn't taking it as seriously as I should have. I was like skipping like work. Geez, work too. I was skipping training to like smoke weed with my boys and shit like that. And also I had this weird like outlook where it's like, oh, dude, my first amateur fight, bro. Dude, I'm gonna win this fight. I'm gonna beat the shit out of the guy. Dana White is gonna call me personally. He's gonna be like, yo, dude, we want you in the UFC, bro. Oh, dude, what do I got to do to get you in the UFC, dude? You're 1-0 as an amateur, bro.
There's not that many undefeated fighters for us to go after.
That's a good point. But yeah, I think I needed to get that knocked out of me a little bit, you know.
Mm-hmm. Is that the only sport you ever played, or did you play other ones growing up?
No, I played everything. I did Pop Warner football once. I played high school a couple of years, but I had to stop. Wrestling, baseball was like the sport that I played for years. It was like 3 seasons at a certain point. I gave up on almost everything else. No, I'm a lifelong athlete. You know, this is just kind of the continuation of what I was doing when I was a kid.
It's an interesting transition from like baseball to fighting with your fists. Or I guess you said you fought as a kid too, like boxing, like just classes.
No, I didn't fight as a kid. My dad taught me how to throw like jab, cross, hook. And then I think from there I was just like, oh, like I want to do this because I kind of looked up to my dad and he trained. He didn't fight. He just trained because, you know, when you're in Boston in the 70s, you get into street fights. So I think he was like, I should know how to fight. You know, and I think it just kind of blossomed from there. But because like baseball is probably a better choice than getting hit in the head.
Yeah, more money in it, safer.
Yeah. They were like, oh, like let's do baseball, which I wanted to be a baseball player when I grew up. And like, I'm not saying I would have. I'm just saying that I think I had a better chance than a lot of people out there, you know, because my brother and myself, I got 2 cousins. One of them was signed to the Diamondbacks, though he got hurt, so they released him, and now he's playing semi-pro. Like we were like mad good.
What position did you play?
I played third and first base.
What did you play, Kyle, when you were
Pitcher?
Baseballing?
Mostly pitched her in the outfield.
Pitched her in the outfield? Is that a normal combination?
I was a kid, Taylor.
I don't know. I thought you played in high school.
Yeah, 1 year.
Oh,